march into happiness. My name is Clara Lan. Good evening.
Mine is Valerie Danso. Robert Pomanso is in studio to interpret the news into sign language. We're live on GTV, live on GBC News, live on Facebook as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. And we begin, Clara.
July 2021 was declared the Earth's hottest month in more than a century. The cause is biodiversity loss and climate change issues. The impacts or experience in Ghana is the unusual rainfall or weather patterns.
The question is, what's the national game plan to drive the change to live in harmony with the earth? A national dialogue on biodiversity conservation in Ghana is mapping out solutions. Here's a report by Clara Mlano.
The assets supporting man's very survival on Earth is under threat, dissipating at an alarming rate, mainly due to human activities. In a process called photosynthesis, the forest, referred to as the lungs of the Earth, take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen for man. The forest is home to a variety of species of trees, birds, mammals and various water bodies, with each performing different functions in the ecosystem. As some 1 million species already face extinction, so is man challenged with economic, health, food insecurity and environmental issues due to biodiversity loss.
This dialogue provides a great platform for stakeholders to advance ideas on how to best integrate biodiversity conservation and climate change adaptation into the recovery of key economic sectors as a means of building back better and ensuring that the results of our actions are able to withstand future shocks.
A draft national biodiversity policy is to help correct these abnormalities by promoting sustainable use of natural resources, financing biodiversity conservation and investing in community reforestation, among others.
Now, at the bottom line of all of this is the individuals who live there. And therefore, when you have to make any meaningful policy, the issue is that they are the ones that you should consult, because when they agree, then everything is agreed. And that, of course, is the purpose of mainstreaming, because in terms of mainstreaming, we wanted to get down to all the people who are connected in terms of a particular distribution.
To the Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Kwekwe Friye, the best mitigation is to go green by planting trees.
The human person has been very, very destructive indeed. And it's very, very ironic that today we have assembled and going through all sorts of algorithms. Very, very sophisticated, even the sophistry which amazes me. After we've done all these things, the number one admonition is to go grow the trees. Let us go and plant the trees. The discussion should be which species should we grow, indigenous versus exotics.
The National Dialogue on Biodiversity Conservation is to review Ghana's efforts towards developing the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. For GBC News, Clara Mlano reporting. Some public service workers in the country on Wednesday morning marched to the Black Star Square to register their displeasure at the 4% and 7% salary increments announced by governments. They also expressed disapproval of the leadership of the TUC and other labor unions for not doing enough to protect their interests. The workers, under a group name Aggrieved Public Sector Workers, said through the leadership of Parliament has refused to receive their petition, they would still find ways and means to channel the petition to the House. The workers who are demanding a 25% rise in their pay are asking for renegotiation of the salary increment.
They started to congregate at dawn at the Obra spot at the Nkrumah interchange for their planned walk. The long route was from the Kwame Nkrumah interchange through Farisco to the TUC premises. At the TUC head office, the group under the name Coalition of Aggrieved Public Sector Workers made a brief stop. They continued through the old Parliament House and finally to the Black Star Square. The lead convener, Mr. Norbert Bobochi, said they had to change their initial plan of presenting their petition to the Speaker of Parliament due to some developments on TV.
We wrote to Speaker that we wanted to submit a petition to the Speaker, but the Speaker wrote back to us just yesterday that he wouldn't be in the position of receiving the how do we call it, the document, just because they are standing orders. But we are making arrangements and making sure that, come what may, the majority, the minority, and the offices of the Speaker will duly be served.
The public sector workers are demanding renegotiation of the 4% base pay agreement. They are also demanding at least a 25% increase in the base pay.
Ghanaian workers cannot just survive with a 4% base pay increment. In the wake of the introduction of these numerous taxes and unnecessary new taxes at the beginning of this year, which are affecting our standard of living badly, how much would be left in order to take care of family and many other responsibilities? More also, in reference to Professor Yantia Mobedu's report on emolument of Article 71 office holders, categorically states that the percentage increase granted to Article 71 office holders in any particular year should not exceed what is granted to public servants. We hereby respectfully ask that the Chief Labor Officer be directed by law to initiate a fresh negotiation, having in mind that we want 25% base pay increment and not that of 4%. And we are also asking that, quite apart from that, the 7% they negotiated for next year should also go to 35%. Other than that, he can also resign.
Turnout was low, and the Director of Public Affairs of the Accra Regional Police Command, DSP Juliana Obing, said the heavy deployment was made based on discussions with the group prior to the demonstration.
We're expecting a larger turnout than we have seen this morning. It's not a case of over-deployment, it is rather a case of maximum protection, not only for the demonstrators, but for the police personnel who came in their numbers, to make sure that vehicular traffic is well managed, to also make sure that human traffic through the routes in which we came through is also well managed. We are seeing what we are seeing probably because the organizers couldn't get their numbers as expected. But whatever it is, the most important thing for us as a service is the fact that we've been able to police this demonstration to a good end.
The demonstration by the coalition of aggrieved public sector workers occurred in Accra in less than 2 months after the NDC's March for Justice demonstration and the Fix the Country demonstration. Rachel Porte, GBC News, Accra.
GBC News sampled the views of some protesters.
What is good for the goose is good for the ganders. And so there is even a report that says that the Article 71 office holders, their increment shouldn't exceed the public service workers' salary. And so why the change? How do we survive with 4% when everything is more than even 10%?
Now, if you look at even the procedures in both negotiations, when they went for 4%, they were expected to come back, have a discussion with your local unions and get them to understand the reasons behind the 4%, which never happened. They went ahead and signed. I mean, contrary to the expectation of the constituents. So here we are. We have taken a number of steps to draw their attention to the fact that the outcome of the negotiation is not something that is satisfactory to us workers, and there hasn't been any response.
Ghanaian public sector workers, we pay every month our dues 2%, 1%, 1.5% to these unions. And the reason why we pay to them is not when we die, they come to our funeral. That money is not accountable to us. They don't give us anything in returns. The only thing that we expect from them is to negotiate and give us good condition of service. This has not been the case. Article 71 office holders, they have increased there to 79%. They should abide by the principle of leadership by example. All of us should sacrifice so that we know that we are not in normal times. So our top hierarchy, who are our parents, have sacrificed. So if we are also sacrificing, it makes sense. But other than that, what they are doing now is a sign of irresponsible parenthood. Meaning a father who will have his children sitting in the house and there is no enough food, and he will gather all the food, eat and leave his children hungry. That is an irresponsible father. And I don't think our father, the president, is an irresponsible father. He called us fellow Ghanaians.
Former President John Mahama says he is unhappy with the rate at which the NPP-led administration is adulterating the country's institutions. He said the government is setting a precedent by targeting and closing down some media houses. The former president, who was on a thank-you tour of Upper East region, said allegations leveled against him that he has offered the leadership of the Fix the Country campaigners £85,000 to demonstrate against the government are untrue. He said fixing the country is not the duty of the NPP or NDC, but rather a shared responsibility. He was speaking to members of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs in Bolgatanga.
Members of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs say former President John Mahama did not only preach peace during his tenure, but was an epitome of peace. The members commended him for his handling of the recent elections, applauding his personality. The Upper East Regional President of the House of Chiefs, Chiana Pupe Dentudini Adiali Ayagitam, said when political leaders, by their actions and statements, encourage or supports tension and civil unrest, it retards development.
Your recent handling of the election petition ruling spoke volumes of the type of person you are. These beautiful attributes of yours have placed this country on a higher pedestal when it comes to democratic governance. We encourage you to keep it up, as tension and civil unrest strikes when political leaders, by their actions and statements, encourage or support it.
When he addressed the chiefs, the former president described the closure of media houses as unfortunate.
Today, government can say that the radio station has been late in paying its license fee, and so we're shutting you down. When I talk about it because of the precedents it can set. Because the shoe can be on the other foot the next day. So the stations you don't like, you can close them down today. When another government comes and it decides to do the same thing to the stations they don't like to, what kind of country would we be building?
Mr. Mahama said the opposition NDC will play its role and not obstruct government, but will hold government accountable and also collaborate with government when they are in the right direction. He said the NDC alone cannot hold government accountable on the country's governance and therefore needs the support of chiefs, CSOs and FBOs to help keep government on its toes. Former President Mahama said fixing the country is not the duty of the NPP or NDC, but a shared responsibility.
The government communicators go and lie that I have given them £85,000 and I've given them 1.5 million CDs for their demonstration. Absolute lie. I haven't fixed one single CD. And yet to demonize their leaders, create the impression that their leaders have collected money so that you can detach the leadership from their following. For me, I take them seriously because those young people are our children. And whether you demonize them or not, the problem of youth unemployment remains.
Mr. Mahama said the NDC government completed phase 2 of the ongoing expansion of the Upper East Regional Hospital in Bolgatanga, but it came to a standstill when his government lost power. The former president expressed worry over the decision by government to abandon the community day schools, E-blocks, that his government started and could not complete before he left office. He said SHS students are not getting enough contact time with their teachers. Former President Mahama described the votes the NDC obtained in the 2020 general elections in the Upper East region as unprecedented.
Tractors are on course with repair work on their Shaman Overpass. A beam on the overpass, which was damaged by a haulage truck in 2019, is being worked on. The repair is expected to be completed on 22nd August 2021.
It was in 2019 when a haulage truck with registration number GT559U transporting a biomass flat-steam boiler meant for a toilet paper manufacturing company at Budumburam in the central region got stuck under the overpass on the motorway near the Asherman toll booth because its cargo exceeded the 5-meter allowable axle limit from the ground. The damage exposed the iron rods and pipes within the concrete structure, and this, engineers say, might require a complete replacement of the entire beam structure. After a careful study of the damage 2 years on, the Ghana Highway Authority GHA opted for repair works. In a statement issued by the GHA, repair works were to begin from the 1st to 22nd August 2021, but work started a bit earlier. A visit to the site showed that work is almost complete, but workers at the site say there are few other areas to be worked on before the road can be fully in use by motorists. There are 12 beams beneath the bridge and engineers are repairing every defective part. There are calls for drivers who flout the axle load limit to be surcharged, as well as officials who compromise on the axle weight to be punished to stop the recurrence of the damage. Meanwhile, the Minister for Roads and Highways says there is a major plan to redevelop the Accra-Tema motorway, which will have 5 new interchanges and a remodeling of the Tetekwashi, Apenkwa and Achimota interchanges. The work, estimated at $570 million, will have 10 lanes, 5 on either side, made up of 4 lanes of reinforced concrete freeway and 6 lanes of urban highway. Presently, the debate is on whether the contract should go to local or foreign contractors. Those arguing in favor of local contractors say it will build the capacity of the locals and the Ghanaian economy, while proponents of foreign contractors say quality work is assured. But for the motorists and traveling public, good roads and a free-flowing motorway is all they need.
The Ghana Psychological Association states that many media practitioners and personnel in the security services in the country are suffering from poor mental health states due to the nature of their work and poor conditions of service. This was the revelation when the association launched its 2021 Psychological Week celebration in Accra. The president of the association, Dr. Collins Benjamin, said the situation could largely be attributed to the poor human resource management structures in the 2 sectors.
The Ghana Psychological Association GPA from studies conducted into the psychological well-being of personnel in the media and security services by some of its members in 2019 and 2020, personnel in the 2 sectors experienced what it termed as emotional constipation, as they could not express their grievances due to their job description. The studies further showed that many personnel in the 2 sectors also suffered from what it termed as occupational reality shock, as their perception of the professions before they joined was entirely different from what they experienced in reality. This distresses a lot of these employees and they become psychologically withdrawn from their organization. At the launch of the 2021 Psychological Week celebration in Accra, the president of the GPA, Dr. Collins Benjamin, urged media owners as well as the leadership of the various security agencies to prioritize the well-being and psychological health of their personnel to enable them to discharge their duties effectively. He also appealed to the Ghana Journalists Association, GJA, to push for mental health as part of the training for journalists to empower them to overcome the challenges they may encounter in their work.
Ghana has received 249,600 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines from the UK government through the COVAX facility. The donation follows a pledge by the UK Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson, to donate 100 million vaccines to the world at the G7 meeting in June this year. The vaccines arrived on Wednesday morning at the Kotoka International Airport. Here's a report by Sarah Fori.
The UK already donated about 5 million vaccines to COVAX, of which 3 million will be distributed across Africa. About 80% of the 100 million vaccines will be allocated to the COVAX facility. It was received by the Deputy Minister for Health, Madam Tina Mensah, at the Kotoka International Airport.
When Ghana received those first doses through COVAX. So it really is genuinely a pleasure to be here today as the Charge d'Affaires, the Acting High Commissioner, as we welcome with partners from Ghana and from UNICEF 249,000 AstraZeneca vaccines donated to COVAX by the UK. I think it's a note that so far COVAX has distributed over 1.3 billion doses of vaccines globally, and that's a remarkable achievement that can only have been achieved through coordination, collaboration and cooperation.
This donation comes at a time when the government of Ghana has dedicated a lot of resources through the effort of the Minister for Health to manage the COVID-19 pandemic, while at the same time addressing the general health needs of the population. Today's donation is a further demonstration of partnership between the UK government and the rest of the world, of which Ghana is part. It is particularly heartwarming to note that the UK government has provided continued support to our health sector, and this support comes at a critical time in the national COVID-19 vaccination program.
Later, when the Minister for Health, Mr. Kweku Agyeman, visited some vaccination sites in Accra, in the Accra metropolitan area, he said persons awaiting their second dose of AstraZeneca vaccines are eligible for vaccination with the latest consignment. He debunked some theories that the vaccines may be expiring soon.
These are theories. They are getting close to expiry and they haven't expired. We can still use them. So I don't see the problem that we have. What we have is a very robust vaccination system. Our expanded program for immunization is very good. We can vaccinate so many people in a very short time. We are expecting some more to come, another 249,000 from another donor before the end of August. September onwards, COVAX will begin to bring us some vaccines that will be a little bit different, and we will continue vaccinating the entire population. If you haven't got AstraZeneca for second dose, please don't rush to go and fake and take Johnson & Johnson. Our system will even get you out.
According to officials of the Ghana Health Service, the vaccines will be deployed after the Food and Drugs Authority inspection to ascertain its safety for use. Sarah Fori, GBC News, Accra.
There's more news ahead after the break. There's business, there's international, there's sports and energy and arts as well. We'll take a break.